Welcome back to episode of SmoothBrainEDH. We have the smoothest plays with the biggest brains. Some of our members have never tried cEDH before, so we wanted to give them an opportunity to test it out. This is baby's first cEDH, so let's see what I brought to the table. First up is Ethan on Urza, Lord High Artificer. This mono blue deck is focused around getting a Hullbreaker Horror onto the field, then generating infinite mana with bouncing mana rocks, then casting the whole deck with Urza's activated ability. Next up is Cameron on Nixilis, Captive Kingpin. This Rakdos deck turns to the deck with Ob's triggered ability, exiling cards on the top of its deck to find its combo pieces, as well as make a huge flying attacker beat down opponents. Third is Shelby on Marneus Calgar. This Esper list is full of Hypers to slow down the game, using Dramatic Reversal and Isochron stuff to generate infinite mana, then using Marneus as an outlet for that mana to make dudes and draw cards. Last is Sam on Varragoth, Bloodsky's Sire. This mono black deck is doing its best to power out as early of an ad nauseam as possible to put the entire deck into hand, then win with either 8th Flux Reservoir or Sickening Dreams. We're about to hop right to the game, but before that, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. We have links to our social media, public Discord server, Decklists, and our Patreon in the description. We are partnered with Dragon Shield. Check out our affiliate link in the description if you'd like to pick up any sleeves, deck boxes, or playmats, and use code SMOOTH5 at checkout for 5% off your order. We are also partnered with Inked Gaming. Our affiliate link is also in the description if you're looking to make any custom playmats. Now, on to the gameplay.
It looks like Shelby wins the die roll. He'll start off with Windswept Heath and fetch with it for an untapped Godless Shrine. He'll then cast Imperial Seal and pass the turn to Sam. Sam will play a Swamp, and then cast a Jeweled Lotus and immediately crack it to cast Varragoth, and then he'll pass to Ethan. Oh, scratch that. He'll actually also cast Urza's Bauble and crack it to look at a card from Cameron's hand, and then he'll pass to Ethan and draw on Ethan's upkeep. And Ethan actually has a pretty fast start. He'll play Snow Island into Sol Ring, and then he'll cast Everflowing Chalice and kick it once, and then he passes to Cameron, who you better believe top-decked the Mana Crypt. Oh yeah, and he also plays a Luxury Suite as land for turn. He'll then cast Mox Amber, and then he'll pass the turn to Shelby, who will play his Tundra as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 2 and cast Lotho, Corrupt Sheriff. Then he'll free cast his Jeweled Lotus, which will trigger Lotho, so he'll lose a life and create a treasure token. Turn is then passed to Sam, and he'll start off with Swamp, and then he'll move to combat and swing Varragoth at Cameron. Before damage, Sam will go ahead and pay 2 and activate his Boast ability. He'll tutor a card to the top of his library, and then Cameron takes 2 commander. Then post-combat, Sam will cast Dark Sphere and pass to Ethan. Ethan starts off with Otawara, then he'll tap for 4 and cast Urza. Upon ETB, he'll make a Construct. Turn is then passed to Cameron, but he'll stay on end step to flash in Orcish Bowmasters. 1 damage is pointed at Lotho to kill him, and he'll amass 1. He'll then move to Cameron's turn, where he wins his Crypt Trigger. Then he'll Culling the Weak away his Orc army. And with that 4 mana and a Mana Confluence, he'll cast Ob Nixilis, Captive Kingpin. He still has a black floating, so he'll tap his Mana Crypt and cast Demonic Tutor, still having a colorless floating. So he tutors his deck and casts the card he finds. It's Care-Decked Parasite. Wow, Ob Nixilis is about to be online. Every time someone draws a card, they'll get pinged for 1 and Ob Nixilis will trigger. I'm just going to save us all a little time, and every time someone draws a card, I'm going to announce what's exiled, and that's it. The turn is then passed to Shelby, and of course on his draw step, the first thing exiled is Dockside Extortionist. Anyways, Shelby will start off by casting Marneus Calgar with the help of Jeweled Lotus. He'll then cast a Mystic Remore and pass the turn to Sam. On draw step, Talisman of Indulgence is exiled. Sam will once again immediately move to combat, and Varragoth is swinging at Cameron, and before damage he activates the Boast ability. So card is tutored, and then we'll move through combat, and Cameron takes his 2 commander. Then Sam will play another Swamp as land for turn after combat. Sam will then pass the turn, and Ethan casts Mystical Tutor on end step, and he will not pay the 4. Sam gets hit by Bowmasters, and Cameron exiles Gemstone Caverns and Firebrand Archer. Then the Mystical Tutor will find Cyclonic Rift to the top of Ethan's library. And when he draws it, Cameron exiles Mox Opal. Ethan then decides on his first main phase, it is just time to drop that Cyclonic Rift overloaded. He doesn't pay the 4, and when Shelby draws, Cameron pinks Sam with Bowmasters, and then he'll exile Unstable Amulet and Jessica's Will. The turn is then passed to Cameron, where he'll start off with his Mana Crypt again. Then Mox Amber, then Mox Opal, then he'll cast that Jessica's Will targeting Sam and float 7 red off of it. He'll then float a black and then use it and 3 red to cast Ob Nixilis again. He'll then cast Unstable Amulet, which gets him 2 energy. Then he'll cast Firebrand Archer from exile. This triggers the amulet and each opponent takes 1, and he'll exile Mana Vault. Then he'll cast Dockside from exile, another amulet trigger, and he exiles Defense Grid. Then he'll play Gemstone Caverns as land for turn, and he'll use it to cast the Mana Vault from exile. 2 triggers on the stack. Shelby will mental misstep this in response to it all though. After that's countered, the amulet and archer triggers will resolve, everyone takes 2, and Cameron exiles Ad Nauseam and Blood Crypt. After this, he'll sacrifice a treasure to recast his Parasite, and then he'll move to his end step. Those cards in exile will now stay there, and the turn is passed to Shelby. On Shelby's draw step, Trigger exiles Final Fortune. Whoa. He'll decide whether or not to use that later. For now, we'll move to Shelby's first main, where he plays Morphic Pool. He'll then recast his Mystic Remora, and then just pass the turn to Sam. And on his draw step, Nixilis exiles Wooded Foothills. Sam will then recast his Dark Sphere, then he'll cast a Mana Crypt, and then he'll drop Ad Nauseam. The 4 is not paid for any of those spells, so Shelby will draw 3, and Cameron exiles a land, Underworld Breach, and a Chrome Mox. With the Ad Naus now on the stack, Shelby decides, that shouldn't resolve now. That can resolve later, and he'll delay it. Sam then attempts to pass the turn, but Cameron will stay on end step, and he'll activate his Unstable Amulet, and this exiles Dragon's Rage Channeler. Then, still on end step, Cameron sits and thinks for a little while, and then decides, I got this, and he'll cast Final Fortune to try to get another turn. A few triggers go on the stack. Shelby responds to them all, though, by force of willing pitching Marneus Calgar to counter the Final Fortune, hoping Ethan can do something on his turn to prevent Cameron from winning on his next turn. Then triggers resolve. Cameron does not pay 4, so he exiles Imperial Seal after Shelby draws. Then the Archer and Amulet triggers resolve, and Cameron exiles Boltben and Bolus's Citadel. Then, after all this, the turn is Ethan's. And on draw step, Nixilis exiles Wishclaw Talisman. After this, Ethan will tap for 3 and cast Solve the Equation, not paying the 4. And Deflecting Swat is exiled. The Solve the Equation will then resolve, and Ethan finds Mindbreak Trap with it. He'll then tap for 3 and cast Back to Basics, not paying the 4. So when Shelby draws, he'll take a damage, and Cameron exiles Prosper. Turn is then passed to Cameron, and he'll win his Crypt trigger. Then, after literally like 5 minutes of just sitting there and doing nothing, Cameron decides to move to combat and swing his 17 power commander at Shelby. Yeah, that is lethal, so Shelby is out of the game. Post-combat, Cameron will cast Wishclaw Talisman, and he'll have 1 floating from his Mana Crypt. And before he activates it to search, he remembers, he should have 2 damage triggers and 2 Nixilis triggers. This exiles Chthonian Nightmare and a Pathway. After this, Cameron will use his floating 1 to activate Wishclaw Talisman and search his library. After he does that, he'll cast Chrome Mox from exile, triggers, and he exiles a land and Molten Duplication. And the imprint is a Desperate Ritual. Cameron will then play a Bloodstained Mire's land for turn, and fetch with it for a Snow Swamp. He'll then cast Saw in Half, targeting his Dockside Extortionist. Firebrand Archer will trigger, and Nixilis exiles something. What? I don't know. He doesn't say, and that exile pile is off the table. Ethan will then attempt to Mindbreak Trap the Saw in Half, but Cameron can just Deflecting Swat it back at itself, which gets Cameron 2 more damage triggers and 2 more Nixilis triggers. Once again, I have no idea what he exiles. Anyways, the Saw in Half will resolve, 2 Docksides hit the field, and he makes 10 treasures. And Cameron begins the end. He'll start by casting Chthonian Nightmare, damage triggers, and 2 Ob triggers. He gets 3 energy, then he'll pay 2 and sacrifice his Parasite to bring back Dockside Extortionist, and the Nightmare goes back to his hand. Then he makes 5 more treasures. You see what he can do here? He'll just cast the Nightmare again, then sacrifice Dockside to bring back the Parasite, cast Nightmare again, sacrifice the Parasite to bring back Dockside, and he gets 5 treasures again. And it only cost him 4 to do this, so he's netting 1 every time. But what's more important is every time he brings Dockside back, Firebrand Archer is triggering twice, which, if he does this infinitely, kills his opponents. He also shows us an all will be won, because he's a big rude man. Anyways, yeah, Cameron wins. Nobody has any responses, so congratulations, Cameron and Nixilis. Well, come to the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Now, listen, I know there's already a ton of you in the comments right now being like, why didn't X? Why didn't Y? Why didn't Z? Guys, please remember, there's a lot of these players' first time playing cEDH. This was just a learning experience, and to get them exposed to the format. A lot of us here at SmoothBrainEDH do enjoy the format, but because there's only a few of us, we don't get to play it for you guys that often, so we're trying to get other people exposed to it. So if you like cEDH, please let us know. A lot of us do actually want to play, and we want to get better too. Except for Jason and Jake. They're actually both already really good at cEDH. Me, not so much. Anyways, that's all for today. Hope you all enjoyed. I hope you have a smooth day.